Welcome to this Google Hangout for admitted students from the Vanderbilt Office of Undergraduate Admissions. First off, congratulations to all of our admitted students. My name is Shane McGuire. And I'll be your moderator for today. I've been at Vanderbilt for almost 3 years now, and I am the admissions counselor for all of New England, except for Connecticut, as well as East Tennessee. So today we're going to be talking with some awesome current students about their experience at Vanderbilt, what it's like living on campus, academic life, being in the city of Nashville, and much more. We're hoping to answer as many questions today as possible, but if we can't get to your questions, feel free to contact your admissions counselor or a current student, and you can find their information on our website. Now let's get started with some introductions from the students. I'll turn it over to them.
Hey guys, I'll start. My name's Marissa Uchimura. I'm a senior from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I study piano performance in the Blair School of Music as well as public policy studies, which is an interdisciplinary major. Oh, and if I had to describe Vanderbilt in one word, my Vanderbilt experience, it would be balance.
Hello everyone, my name is Logan Keller. I'm a junior from Dallas, Texas, majoring in political science, earth and environmental sciences, and Spanish. And if I had to describe Vanderbilt in one word, I would say experience.
Hey guys, my name is Andrew Brodsky. I am a sophomore from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I am majoring in human and organizational development and American studies. And if I had to use one word to describe my Vanderbilt experience, it would be passion.
Hey everyone, my name is Teresa Miller, and I'm a sophomore from Lake Zurich, Illinois, and I am studying chemical engineering. And if I was to describe my Vanderbilt experience in one word, I think it would have to be global.
All right, thank you all so much for those introductions. So now this is a question for all of you. Thinking back on your time as a high school senior, talk us through your admissions decision and ultimately how you decided on Vanderbilt.
I can go first. Being a student that was interested in studying both music and political science, I knew I wanted a school that kind of challenged me both musically and academically. So I would say that that definitely already narrowed down my school choices for me, and Vanderbilt honestly wasn't on my radar at first until I came down here and visited, and I definitely got a sense that at this school you could, wear many hats, and they were diverse hats. So I met like an engineering major who would be working on a big engineering project one day, and then the next day be starring in like a Vanderbilt theater production, which is so cool because I really got a sense that students were just as excited about their academic pursuits as they were about the extracurriculars they were doing that were not at all related to what they were studying. So that was cool.
Yeah, I would say sort of to echo what she said, the students here really are defined for me by this mix between passion and compassion. So they're passionate, but they're always working on things that they really care about and they really love. So it could be, like Marissa said, a chemical engineer, or it could be someone in a theater play, it could be someone who's a composition major, whatever it is. Everyone's really passionate about something, and so just by being friends with them, you really just learn all these amazing things, just being around them, getting dinner with them, things along those lines. But then at the same time, everyone is passionate or compassionate, and that they genuinely just care about you as a person and really want to go out of their way to make sure that you succeed. So by having the combination of both of those, you really get this good family atmosphere where everyone really cares for one another and really just learns from one another and pushes each other to succeed, which just creates a great environment that you love waking up to every day.
Yeah, so Andrew and Marissa kind of answered why they came to Vanderbilt. When I get this question, I kind of answer it from a different perspective of why I choose to stay at Vanderbilt. And I think to do that, it's important to look back for me when I was in your shoes, choosing colleges, and for you guys where you are right now. So I think the biggest thing, if I could give people advice, is to think about what makes you happy and what you need to be happy in college. And for me, I'm happiest when I'm surrounded with people that, I'm a very big believer that you should surround yourself with people that you want to be like, not people that you want to become, but people that you want to follow in their shoes and kind of create your own path along the way. And at the end of the day, you know, when I go home and talk to friends and family about why I like Vanderbilt, you know, I never mention, you know, well, we're ranked X in the nation, and we, you know, this percentage of students study abroad, and, you know, this. I never talk about those things. I always talk about the people that I've interacted with, and for me, that's what really makes me happy. So I encourage all of you guys to kind of find what that is that you think you need to be happy in college, and see if that's something Vanderbilt or wherever else you're looking has.
All right, great. So let's talk a little bit about sort of your academic experience at Vanderbilt and sort of what that's been like, and particularly tell me a little bit if you have any stories about interaction with faculty and the relationships you have with your faculty here at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, if no one else, I'll take this first. Yeah, so first of all, whenever anyone asks me like what has surprised me most since coming to Vanderbilt, it's always my faculty interactions. It's so different than what I had expected coming into college, but faculty are so willing and open to getting to know you, and they really want you to succeed, and you really will get the chance to like interact with them. So I've never been in a class where the professor doesn't know me, know my name, know things about me. And my favorite, I guess, like story I have with regards to that is the very first class I took here at Vanderbilt. It's called Intro to Geology. It was a 130-person lecture class, and I had never taken you know, a class that big in my life, so I had no idea what to expect. In the second week of classes, I go into Professor Morgan's office hours because I had a question. And so I walk in the door, he looks up, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Logan, how are you?" I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, how do you know my name?" And so after that, he goes, "Don't tell me. You're from Dallas, Texas, you're a freshman, you want to major in political science, and you have a fake nose. Tell me about that." So on the first day of class, he gave us all index cards and told us to write, like, standard information plus a fun fact, fake nose. And within 2 weeks, he had turned those index cards into flashcards with our face on one side and the information on the other, and memorized every single student in the class. And for me, that was just such a huge step that, you know, really made me feel like even in this huge class, like, the professor made such an effort to get to know me. Fast forward, I ended up declaring a major in Earth and Environmental Science, so kind of confused as to why I did that. But I'm very, very happy that I took that class, and that now, you know, that's something I'm pursuing as like a career. And he's now my advisor. I got lunch with him on Friday. Like, I think that's just very typical that you can have these kind of relationships and go out to get coffee with or lunch with various professors.
Yeah, along a similar vein, so I'm part of a campus organization called Speakers Committee, and we bring notable speakers to campus. Sometimes they're political figures, sometimes they're comedians. And basically, we, as part of the committee, after these speakers come and give their speeches, we get to have dinner with them afterwards, and we usually invite some Vanderbilt faculty who are in the department. So last year, we hosted former Mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, and we invited one of my political science professors, Professor Wiseman, and I only knew him because I had registered for his class the previous semester, so it had been months since I'd seen him, and I had only gone to the first week of class because it ended up that it was sandwiched in between like a really difficult schedule, and I didn't need to take it that semester. I could wait, so I ended up dropping it after the first week. But he had all of the students in class stand up and introduce ourselves and say what we studied and what kind of politics we were interested in. And I guess he remembered me from the previous semester because basically at dinner, in the middle of dinner with Rudy Giuliani, I was introducing myself and we were going around the table and introducing ourselves. And he was like, "Oh yeah, Marissa, she dropped my class after only a week." And like called me out in front of Rudy Giuliani, and then we like ended up laughing about it later. And I'm in his class this semester, and we definitely have like a good relationship. But it was just crazy to me that he remembered like that I had stood up and dropped his class after only a week. And I was like, "Professor, I promise I'm gonna take your class again." And Rudy Giuliani like kind of scoffed at me. So that was a fun story.
That's an awesome story. Thank you both for sharing those stories with us. Now I'm going to shift gears just a little bit and have you all maybe talk about Nashville. I mean, we're in a great city, lots of opportunities for students, so maybe highlight some of your favorite things to do or favorite aspects of living in Nashville.
Personally, one of my favorite aspects of Nashville is just all the different food that we have here. So there are so many different amazing places to eat. I just really like food. I have a spreadsheet on my computer that has this comprehensive list of like 250 different restaurants in the Nashville area. And it's like color-coded by like what kind of food it is and how far away from campus it is. And then I have like check marks beside all the ones I've been to and like would I go again. It's pretty intense. But so just me and my friends have this thing where twice a week we always just say we're going to get off campus and then just go explore Nashville and find one of these restaurants and eat there and just sort of like bond over our love of food. We also have this thing where every Saturday morning we just get up super early and try a new donut place. We still have not ran out of donut places and we've been doing it for like 2 months, so we'll see how long it'll last. But I just love that there are so many authentic and real places that you can just get different types of food around Nashville. It's like you're exploring the town, but then also just eating all this amazing food. I just really like food, so.
I've got to say, I'm definitely on the same page with Andrew with the food. I think that my Nashville bucket list is a list of restaurants, but I got to say something else that I didn't really expect out of Nashville was kind of. And so right off campus, we have Centennial Park, which is where I'll go run fairly often, and especially right now, it's just filled with flowers and tulips, and it's absolutely beautiful, and has this big replica of the Parthenon. And one time I actually walked inside when they were having this huge benefit for really something really fancy. I was in my running clothes, but people were still offering me little hors d'oeuvres on trays. Also, there are big national parks around, like Radnor Park or Percy Werner. And we also have the Outdoor Rec, which will schedule these trips, not just to those places, but all over the place. And people will go, kayaking or canoeing, hiking, climbing, just all over the place. And it's before I came to Nashville, but it's absolutely beautiful all around. And it doesn't really hurt that, at least coming from the Chicago area, it is always a little bit better weather here than anywhere else.
Awesome. Thank you all. So bringing it back to campus just a little bit, I'd like to have you all maybe talk a little bit about your first year experience and tell us, what it was like moving into the Commons with people from all across the country and all across the world and what that experience was like for you all.
I can start this one. So my first year experience, you start off, you move in, and you're greeted by this screaming crew of people known as Move Crew. And little do you know that they actually wake up at like 6 a.m. And go to Commons, and they're mostly sophomores, although juniors and seniors will join in too. That kind of actually connects to my freshman experience, because the best way I can describe that is that my sophomore year, I got back to Commons. I actually moved in a few days early so that I could participate in Move Crew with the rest of East House. And I got there, we woke up at 6 a.m. My faculty head of house and her husband greeted us with Dunkin' Donuts coffee and donuts, and we were just so ready to meet this new class of freshmen, and I was so happy to see the people in East House that I'd lived with last year. It was like nothing had changed, and even though like we weren't living on Commons anymore, we were all together and we were moving in the new class, and like that just sort of exemplified like how close I actually got to my fellow East Housers, and they just it was so good to like have that community with everyone and to greet our new class. And I am getting sad just thinking about it now that I'm a senior, but it was really great to just have like that relationship with my faculty head of house and with everyone there. There's kind of no community like it the rest of your 4 years.
Yeah, I would have to echo that. The community that gets formed around the Commons is just fantastic. So I came to Vanderbilt and I didn't know anyone coming in. There was no one else from my hometown or like around me that was coming. So when I moved into Commons, how Commons works, you sort of have like 10 different houses, and you're randomly assigned into each of them. So it's just this big mix of people. They could be from all different schools, all different regions of the world, all different interests and backgrounds, and you're sort of mixed together. So it's sort of like this melting pot of different identities and people and ideas. And it forms, like Marissa said, this great community. So all I can remember is the second night that I was here, just after meeting a couple of people for this first time, we were like, hey, we're going to go downtown tonight and talk about or just like wander around town and see all these different things. So it's just this random group of people that lived in East House, and we just decided to walk downtown, and we just stumbled upon this free George Strait concert that was just like in the middle of some lawn downtown. So we just walked in, we're like, hey, sure, yeah, we'll go to this free concert. Go in, see George Strait, he's chilling, whatever, and then halfway through, Mike Posner just like hops out, and he's like, hey, I'm here too, and we're like, oh my goodness. It was ridiculous. So then later on throughout like the first month that you're here in August and September, Nashville has what's called the Live on the Green Music Festival, where just every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night for the first couple months, August and September, they just have different people that come and perform, and it's all totally free. So then that same group of people that I just met on that second night that we were here went out and we watched people like Cage the Elephant, Ingrid Michaelson, and a bunch of other people just like come and perform. This year Passion Pit came, and so that same group of people and me just like went back and watched Passion Pit a year later, how we first met. And it's just so cool to meet all these people and just immediately have this great experience with them. It's just this bond that forms in this community, and it's just absolutely fantastic sort of to have all of that at your fingertips.
Great. So just my final question for you all is to think about, maybe what's something that you've experienced at Vanderbilt that you never imagined before? I know, a real deep question for you.
I've got to say, at least for me, I said that my Vanderbilt experience is global, and a huge part of that comes from this really huge opportunity that I had last year, and actually is continuing this year. But my first year writing seminar professor was in an earth and environmental sciences, and she, like Logan is majoring in, but she invited us to come, and she said, oh, does anyone want to come caving with me this weekend? I'm going with a grad student, and I'd never gone caving before, so I was like, I shall do it. And I went with her, had an amazing time, but then she sent me an email later on saying, hey, would you be interested in doing research with me? My lab is open. Also, I have this friend in anthropology who needs someone to go to Peru. Do you think you could do it? And so I spent the entirety of last summer in Peru, learning Spanish, meeting local people, trying local delicacies like guinea pigs and eating their eyeballs, but also just working with anthropology and really, cross-dimensional research. And now I get to do that again this summer, and I get to go back to Peru for the World Mummy Congress, which is something I didn't know existed, let alone that I would get to go do and speak at. So just having that huge cultural awareness and have that be a part of my Vanderbilt experience is insane.
Yeah, I can go. So I think this kind of touches on Marissa's like, why did she choose Vanderbilt, with like the wearing different hats kind of thing. But I think that's like something that I never expected, is that I've been able to have my foot in so many different like diverse parts of campus in so many different ways. Like, first of all, just the sheer fact that I'm able to pursue political science, earth and environmental sciences, and Spanish. Like, those are three very different things, but I'm still able to do that and graduate in 4 years. And then at the same time, the fact that if you look at my extracurricular activities, not a single one of those reflects like what my majors are. Like, for example, I'm in a musical theater group, so it's like not at all required that you're a theater major to do musical theater here. So I do musical theater. I'm on the executive board for a group called Alternative Spring Break, which I know Andrew went on, basically like go on a service trip somewhere in the nation, or we have 3 international sites. And yeah, Teresa did as well. And yeah, so there's that. I've done Diwali, Asian New Year Festival, and Café con Leche, which are basically all these like cultural showcases where a ton of like 200 to 300 students come together and will be in dances that represent like the culture. And I've been able to do 3, which an Indian culture, East Asian. So I specifically did a Korean dance, and then Café con Leche is Hispanic. So the fact that I've been able to do so many different things that like I really never imagined myself in, like, you don't have to specialize in one thing. If you're a math major, you would be very hard pressed to find a math major that only does math and doesn't do any extracurriculars that aren't math, related in that field. Like, people here have such diverse interests, and I think it's because we have such a diverse student body in every way that people really are able to interact and do so many different things.
Yeah, just kind of building off that briefly, my sophomore year, I had the opportunity through the Office of Active Citizenship and Service to go to Morocco, and it was a trip led by two of the directors in OACS, one who is Egyptian, Sharif Barsoum, and one who's from South Africa, Clive Menzel, and they were both like two of the coolest guys that I'd met at Vanderbilt, and they just loved leading this trip, and we got to spend 2 weeks in Morocco. We went to Rabat, Marrakesh, Casablanca, and El Jadida, which is on the beach. I tried snails for the first time, and also just student body-wise, there were students from all kinds of different religions and cultures on this trip who all just wanted to visit Morocco, and it was by far one of the coolest things I've gotten to do, and I just would not have been able to have that experience had I not gone to Vanderbilt and you know, gotten to know people within the Office of Active Citizenship and Service and just take this trip. So yeah, that was amazing and kind of representative of all that is offered here in terms of diversity at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, so I would say for me, it's just all the different subject fields that I've been able to learn about, and a lot of that has come through the Commons. So my faculty head freshman year was a biomedical informatics professor. She was actually the chair of the department, which like combines like biology and technology and computers and science and medicine and like saving lives. I still don't completely understand it, but it's so cool, and I just got to learn more about that by listening to her talk and having dinner with her and just meeting up with her and all of that. So that's like just one example of things that I've learned just academically. Another one of the professors on the Commons is a ethnomusicologist. So he travels to South Africa and different parts of Africa and the continent in general, and just listens to the music there and sees how that affects their culture and how that affects their everyday life. He's been nominated for a couple of Grammys through his work. Just like experiencing all of these cool professors that you think you would never actually have the opportunity to meet up with, and just sort of like having their expertise and their experience at your fingertips just to be able to learn from and absorb is such an amazing experience that I really had no idea I'd have the opportunity to have when I was just moving in August my first year here.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing all of that. That's really all the time we have for today. Thank you to you awesome students for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join us today. For those of you watching, if you have other questions for us, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Reach out to your admissions counselor, contact a current student, or you can hop on our website at admissions.vanderbilt.edu and get your questions answered there. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.